field, and that is to move a little closer. We're way too far away from one another. This is not like an auditorium presentation. Those of you in chairs, the chairs are not bolted down, and there's no blueprint that says you have to sit so far away. So everyone please move up from the front closer. And everyone else, move your chairs, try to make them geometrically appealing or in good order, and come closer. Everyone, please, please, please. Inconvenience regretted, but you're going to like it better. We'll have a much better time, more communication, more eye contact, and less feeling like we're speaking to people far away, because we're all close in heart and soul because we're on the same mission together. And we're developing today a sense of common purpose based on the teachings of our previous acharyas, our founder acharya, His Divine Grace Hesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and finding their purpose and what they deem to be the most cherished of all services. We'll gain inspiration. And we'll also talk about ways in which we can practically execute these types of services that are considered to be the highest sadhana. So, we founded a Madanga. Do we have a certified kartalist in the house? As is, who's our certified kartalist? Okay? You can show me the certification later. Is somebody running the slideshow, or am I? Udila, I don't know. You didn't. Udila Arana. Just put it on Udila Arana Part 2. This is a song we can sing because it's still before 12 o'clock. And this song is a beautiful song written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which talks about the ways in which the soul sleeps in the material world. Udila Aruna. Yeah, that's it. Click on that. Double click. Or you know what to do.
Do you want?
Yeah, thanks.
Do you need us after this or not?
No, but I'll put that there.
Is it on?
And please feel free to turn your phone. What? I don't know if you have USB or a connector, but we would start with Jeev Jago. Yeah. You might need an adapter for this, if somebody has. If not, we'll arrange something else. In this song, written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the author, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, of the song says that the soul is sleeping, and he says, please wake up. And he's giving a reminder that when we come into the womb as a soul controlled by the material energy, those fortunate souls can remember 100 lifetimes previously. And then they pray to the souls in the womb that, please, don't let me again fall victim to Maya. But there's a way in which that Maya is so overwhelming when they come out into the material world. Still, the call of the Mayic energy is so powerful that they again succumb, and not until the next birth in the womb that they remember. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur then, through the voice of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is saying that I've come as an avatar, Lord Chaitanya is saying, and I'm here just to save you. This is his mission, to save the conditioned souls. And he says, Anechi Ashwari Maya Nashib Harulagi Harinam Ma Mantra Lao Tumi Magi, which means I've brought medicine. So this is a nice metaphor for us as preachers beyond borders. There's also doctors beyond borders. We know of that organization. They go out of their way to go to war-torn places and places where there are epidemics, just so they can help people who are suffering because medically they have a sense that I can do something for them, so I must do that. When you're in an airplane, when we were just flying here 2 days ago, there was a call from the flight attendants saying that there's a medical professional on the board, please ring your call button. And those who are medical professionals, they were happy to ring their call button because they're trained for that. And they knew that they would be able to do something. And they also felt a calling to do it, otherwise they wouldn't have spent 15 years in medical school and $700,000 in student loans to get there. So there's a way that we also are trained specifically so that when the call button is rung and the flight attendant says, if anybody knows how to administer medicine, please come. And that's what this song is. It's a call from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, look it, you devotees, you have the medicine. Eneche ashaudi maya nashib haralagi. So now, go distribute it. Give it to everybody else. And you also take it yourself. Make sure you're begging for it and taking copious amounts of the medicine and the Mahamantra. Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Prabhu Charane Podiya, Harina, She Harina Mantra, Loilo Magiya. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I followed this process given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I was able to attain the mercy of the Lord. So the implication is that we follow the Acharya system. What do they do in order to perfect themselves? And we follow in their footsteps. Padapotena mahatkritena. Say the demigods to Lord Krishna in the womb that the way of perfection is to catch a boat across the ocean of material existence, to follow the footsteps of the great Acharyas. So there's a beautiful song, and we can sing it together. Thank you. Okay, now we can go to the main slide deck. I first offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who with heart and soul followed the order of his spiritual master, Paschata Deshatarne, said, go to the West, preach to the Westerners, and make sure that you give them Krishna consciousness. This is the beyond the borders order of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In some corporation or any project that we begin, we start with mission statement, vision statement. Prabhupada wrote his in his pranam mantras. And in his pranam mantra, Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. He gave this mantra to all of us to remember his own mission statement. And his mission statement was that he's coming on the order of his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and specifically, he's coming to preach to those outside of Bharatvarsha, those in Paschatya Desh. Desh is a place. Paschatya means those people in the West who don't know about Krishna consciousness. Everyone's qualified. We're following the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Shukadeva Goswami says, Kirata hunandra pulinda pulakasha abhira shumba yavanaka sadaya ineja papa yada pashraya shraya shudyanti tasmai prabhavishnave namaha. Because of the power of the Vaishnavas and the way that they are instruments for Lord Vishnu's mercy, anyone in any part of the world who's disconnected with the culture of varnashrama can become perfect by hearing the message of the Bhagavat through the Vaishnavas. That's our mission. And Srila Prabhupada, although he preached to everyone and he brought the mission back to India, he very specifically wanted all of us stationed around the world, here in Washington, D.C., in Ashburn, in Cadbury? Clarksburg, Baltimore, etc. These are strategic points. Why are they strategic? Because we are Paschatya Desh. We are there to fulfill the mission of Prabhupada, of preaching to the Westerners, to making sure they're able to come close to Krishna consciousness. This is way beyond borders. When Prabhupada left India, many people told him, first of all, it's illegal to leave India. For sadhus, you shouldn't leave Bharatvarsh's shores. You'll be contaminated and you'll be ineffective. Prabhupada didn't listen to that even for 1 second, because he had read the Bhagavatam, he knew the Bhagavatam, and he knew the order of his spiritual master. Coming to the West and introducing Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada made many adjustments. You'll notice it in his purports where he said that although he was being criticized even as he came to America to preach, because he was mixing with Westerners, he was adjusting the environment so that Westerners would feel comfortable, that Westerners had certain lifestyles, and he was accommodating those just so they could Yena Prakarya Mana Krishna Niveshayat, wherever they were and whatever condition they were in at that time, to remember Krishna. That was his principle. So this is our mission. We're following in Prabhupada's footsteps to go to anyone and everyone. It's also Lord Chaitanya's mission, not considering who is a so-called fit or unfit candidate. All souls are eligible. And we don't know who's ready. We have to assume that everyone has the potential to awaken to Krishna consciousness, and to the best of our ability, give an opportunity to them to awaken. I'll start with a basic principle to save you all a lot of time. So there's a few principles you may take away from this today that can be extremely useful in your own outreach, in whatever venue you're preaching in. And that is to look for the ripe fruits. When we go to pick fruits from trees, we're selective, right? Say yes.
Yes.
We don't take unripe fruits and yank them off the tree or try to break the branch off. We know that in due course of time they'll ripen, and that our duty as gardeners or fruit pickers is to find ones that are ready. This is one of the principles of preaching given in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 11th canto. Ishvare taradineshu valisheshu dvisatsucha prema maitri kripopeksha yakaroti samadhyamaha. The middle is for preachers. There's Kanishta. Kanishtas don't think about others. They think about their own relationship with Krishna, and it's mostly only in the temple. They don't know about worshipping devotees as a way to worship Krishna. As Krishna said, Mad bhakta puja vyadika. He told Uddhava, if you want to worship me, worship my devotees. They don't know that. Cha anyeshu, they also don't know that Krishna is in everyone's heart. And the highest method of worshiping Krishna is to go to each living entity, especially the fallen souls, to give them an opportunity to reawaken to Krishna consciousness. There's no higher method. Tapyante loka-tāpena. This is Lord Shiva speaking in the Bhagavatam. Sādhavaḥ prāyaśo paramārādhanaṁ tati puruṣasyākhilātmanaḥ. He says, there is no higher, Shukadeva Goswami observing Lord Shiva, who had just, for the sake of saving the universe, quaffed the poison ocean. And Shukadeva said, that's a Vaishnav. Tapyante loka-tāpena. Because of loka-tāpena, the suffering of all the people in the world, the Vaishnav takes some trouble on his or her head in order to take people out of suffering, as they have the medicine. Anichi ashaudi maya. Ashaudi means medicine. Paramārādhanaṁ. Aradhana means service. Radha comes from the word aradhanam. The highest service, paramārādhanaṁ, is to take some trouble upon oneself. For us it means taxing our brain. How can we translate Krishna consciousness in such a way that people who have no idea what it is can take it? Or people who think they have an idea of what it is will still take it. And there are many nuances beyond that as well. And when we take the trouble, what's trouble? Let's just say we're going to go all together on book distribution. First of all, my mind is troubled because I start thinking, what will happen when I walk out the door? Wouldn't we think that? Will I have to perform? Will I be exposed that I'm a weakling and that I don't know how to talk to people? Will I be unable to perform magic tricks on the street for people to take books and I'll be on the top of the list and my name will be read? I won't be able to achieve that. I have many worries. What if somebody says, get out of my way? I hate you people. What will I say then? How will I feel? How will my faith stay intact? All these feelings, although we may not identify any one of them, they're combined into a ball of worries. And when we say, okay, the car's out there, all you have to do is get in, we're going to take you out to a spot, and they're like, yeah, but what will happen? We take trouble when we overcome that fear, walk out the door. I'm going to help you overcome that also, because I overcome it every time I go out on book distribution, and that's one of the main tricks, not only to going out on book distribution, to doing any service, is to cross beyond the maelstrom of the mind that convinces us that something worrisome is about to occur because I'm going into the unknown. When we take that trouble upon ourselves, we grow as a person. One of you said you want to learn how to overcome many different kinds of circumstances, obstacles. In overcoming obstacles in preaching, that's how we become strong. Do you know anyone who's mature in any field or in life in general who has not faced obstacles that seemed insurmountable and then somehow or other found a way to overcome them? That's what makes one wise, that's what makes one mature, and that's what makes us rise in our devotional service. So we become capable of taking shelter of Krishna to overcome our obstacles. And the proving ground for that, is going out to teach others Krishna consciousness, because you just don't know what's going to happen. And you have to learn how to be ready for anything. And that is the highest sadhana, is to organize your life to give mercy to others. To go beyond your borders. What is my border? I have my living room, my favorite chair. I have my little stack of books. And of course, if they're Bhagavatams, we should sit and read for as many hours a day as possible and chant. But beyond the door, where we can lock it and put a sign on saying, do not disturb, or if somebody knocks, we can look through the peephole and not answer because we don't want to be troubled. We go out to trouble ourselves by knocking on other people's doors. And as much as it's a trouble for us, it's a trouble for them too. Because we're knocking on their door and they're thinking, oh no, should I answer or shouldn't I answer? And if we approach somebody on the street, they're thinking, this person is here to tell me that my life is a waste of time. That's why they have that book in their hand. How do we make them feel at ease so that we can give them an opportunity to read the Bhagavad Gita and use their own God-given intelligence to make a decision to serve Krishna? All these considerations and the actual physical execution of the preaching of Sankirtan in all its iterations is tapyante. It's a kind of austerity, tapa. There's trouble to be faced. And in that trouble, we advance in devotional service. If you're doing it, don't look down, but you're making advancement. And you'll also, as a sign of advancement, be more inclined to hear and chant. Shushusho sharadhanasya vasudeva kataruchi. Syan mahatsevya vipra punya tirtana shevana. There's a way in which when you do great service, the best service, follow in the footsteps of the acharyas. Acharyas say, Paschatya deshatarane, try to preach in the West, to the Westerners. And when you do that, then they become pleased. It's a transcendental system. You get taste for hearing and chanting about Krishna. Everyone okay so far? Yes. Okay. 7 people said yes. Everybody else is languishing. let me show you some slides. Where did I put the slide here? It was here a minute ago. Clicker? Clicker? Where? Thank you. Okay. I'll take you through a few slides just to talk about the legacy. Why are we here? Why are we sitting here? Prabhupada sat in this room. Did you know that? Sat right there. I was here in 1976. And that was his Prabhupada's Vaiśeṣika. Prabhupada came here. He went on morning walks every day. And he talked about these very subject matters we're talking about now. So, that's not working. Maybe. Yeah. That'll be, I think, inconvenient. Maybe somebody can, do we have are there any engineers in here? Does somebody want to figure this out? Is it missing a battery or whatever it is? Why is it not registering? It'll be better if we can figure it out. In the meantime, let's go forward. You see if you can figure that. Sampradaya. Who's heard the word? 3 people? Okay, let's all say it so we've all heard it. Sampradaya. Sampradaya means giving the complete gift. Sang means complete. And pradaya means to give something. So that's what we are. We are gift givers. And how did the Sankirtan movement start? Where's Vandanam? Vandana. Vandana, are you still here? She was the last one to say, Vandana, our movement started because of your namesake, which is prayer. Advaitacharya had a desire that people not languish in ignorance in the material world. You can read about it in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, how crazy people were. They're crazy now too. The material world turns people crazy and gives stupid things to do. The material nature presents a menu of stupid things that you can do. And people who are in ignorance just go through the menu and they pick out every stupid thing they can do. And that's what everyone's doing in the material world, stupid stuff. So Advaitacharya, who's completely serious, wanted the unserious to become serious about their ultimate goal of life. So he prayed. And he said, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I can't do this alone. You please come and save these people. And that's our success in preaching. What can we do? But if we pray, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please empower me. Please give me the resources to teach Krishna consciousness to other people. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te. Krishna says, I'm just waiting to give you good intelligence. You just please ask for it. So we start by praying and praying and praying. And the harder you pray, the more successful you'll be. So the first lesson of Krishna consciousness in all its aspects, and most particularly in having the wherewithal to teach it to others, is to pray hard. How should we pray? Hard. We should pray hard. It means really get in touch with your angst. If you have angst about your life, if you have angst about the state of the world and you talk about it and you say, the world's really messed up, what should we do? Pray. And how should you pray? Hard. That's what Sri Advaita Acharya did. He prayed hard, and because he prayed hard, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this world. Ta-da! Thank you, engineers. Let's give a hand to the technical team. Prabhu, I'll never forget you for that. You saved us. That was a big thing. Then thank you. Okay, so Advaitacharya prayed and Lord Chaitanya came. Later Lord Chaitanya says in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Advaitacharya, you're the one who called me. I was sleeping on the milk ocean. I heard your loud cries to please come help, and I came here. And when Lord Chaitanya came, there was hope in the world, and he started a movement. Movement means something's got to move. So what parts move? There's 2 parts to the Hare Krishna movement, only. One is chant Hare Krishna. What's the first part? Chant Hare Krishna. That would get you 1,500 on your SAT. Let's go for 1,600. What's the second part is to teach others.
Teach others.
What's the second part?
Teach others.
What's the first part?
Teach others.
No, this is teach others.
Teach others.
If you get those two parts and you put them together, 1,600 on your SAT. And that's Krishna consciousness. There's only two parts. It's very simple. It's not complicated. It doesn't require a business administration degree. It requires heavy prayer, and it requires two parts. Chant Hare Krishna and teach others. We do need management, but we want to manage the results. When you pray really hard, and then you chant Hare Krishna, and you teach as many people as you can, then people are going to come pouring in the door and say, what do I do now? That's when you need your business administration. To say, okay, how are we going to accommodate all these people? How are we going to give them a place where they can also practice Krishna consciousness? And that's our movement. Two parts. Want the quiz again? And if somebody wakes you up at 1 in the morning and says, what's the Krishna consciousness movement, you'll say? And you'll even throw in, pray hard. Okay, that's it. Seminar's over. Thanks for coming. You know everything now. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the concept of the marketplace. He wanted everyone to take marketing, quantitative reasoning skills, qualitative reasoning skills. It all has to come together. It's a creative art, how to market something to people. You have to think, what's the market? Right now, big political campaigns going on, everyone's thinking, what do they want to hear over here? What about over here? Let's segment the market. These people in the swing states, they want to hear about jobs. People over here, they want to hear about, I don't know, whatever it may be. We look for, what are the niche markets? Who are the people out there? How will we offer it to them? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he noticed, I'm wearing the same kind of clothes everybody else. Now they're starting to disrespect me. What should I do? Oh, let me rebrand. I'll put on a sannyasi outfit, and then everyone will come and bow down. It was just a pure rebranding. It was all for marketing. It had nothing to do with some varnashram idea. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was all about marketing the two aspects, chant Hare Krishna, teach others. So he looked for a way to market the holy name. And as far as the scope of his mission, what was it? Every town. Go ahead and say it. Don't be afraid to say it. Yeah, we're afraid to say it because, like, how is that going to happen? And that's what everyone said when Prabhupada came to America. It's like, yeah, give me a break. Please don't do this. It's not going to happen. Don't go and get disappointed and maybe just overwhelmed and you're old and it'll happen. But Prabhupada took the mission. He said every town and village means? Yeah, every town and village means every town and village. So we have the freedom to sketch out and look at the whole world and say, every town and village. And at a certain point, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic campaign, the movement became hidden for some time because this is the influence of the material world. At any time, we can be distracted by 1 degree, then 5 degrees, then 100 degrees, and next thing you know, people are making stuff up. That Lord Chaitanya said this, Lord Chaitanya said that, but it was all lies. This whole idea of the parampara requires vigilance. It has to be maintained carefully, artfully, thoughtfully. So this is our job, to be the protectors of the parampara and carry on the mood of the parampara to others. After it had become hidden, it was underground, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the great reviver of the Sankirtan movement, appeared and in 1891 reopened the marketplace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And at Surabhi Kunj, where we all go for our yatra when we're in Mayapur, and we sit down in that place and we pray to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And how do we pray? Hard. We pray hard. That he said, the marketplace of the holy name is now open again. Haribol. That's a Haribol moment, really Haribol. And he predicted that there would be a personality who would appear, who would spread it all over the world. He also prayed for a ray of Vishnu in his family. Meanwhile, even as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement had disappeared, gone underground, there were always saints on the planet who are keeping the pure holy name going and the pure teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sometimes it comes forth in a gush, like a waterfall, says the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That says the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Other times, saints are silent, just like waterfalls. Sometimes they're dormant, then they pour forth. So always there's some saint on the planet, Bhagavatam says, otherwise the world would cease to exist. And when the ray of Vishnu appeared in Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's family, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was self-effulgent even as a child. He, the son of Bhaktivinoda, who was that ray of Vishnu, expanded the movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, codified it, organized it, and spread it all over India in the form of the Gaudiya Math, the glorious organization that brought to light Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. And when the disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, named Abhay Charanaravinda, came to his Guru Maharaj in a humble way, thinking, what can I do? I'm householder, I'm on the outside. He asked, what can I do to help you, Guru Maharaj? And his Guru Maharaj said, and you can all read it together. If you ever get money, read books. And Srila Prabhupada said, I took this up from his mouth, that he is very fond of books. This is something we want to lean into and find out. What is it? What's the thing I can do that's most pleasing to my Guru Maharaj? And our Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, made that marketplace swell all over the world. He took it from India, then to America, then to UK, and subsequently he went to every continent of the world and made sure that Krishna consciousness was open. With him he brought the first canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in 3 volumes, and here he writes in a pamphlet where he's promoting his 3-volume set of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 60 volumes of elaborate English version. He only had 3 volumes. He's advertising 60 volumes. In fact, Prabhupada sold his books before they were written. Did you know that? In universities, he sold what's called standing orders. Means they took the books and said, anything else printed by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, all buy. Those were called standing orders. And Prabhupada had this determination, 60 volumes, and he said all over the world for scientific knowledge of God. At this time when he made this pamphlet, he had no money, he had nobody to pick him up and transport him, no company jet, and he's advertising that it's going to be all over the world. That was his vision. So, Lord's plan, you see that Lord's plan stamp? This is what Prabhupada writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, was Lord Chaitanya's plan. I want everyone to be immersed. To be what? Immersed. Somebody look up immersed. Look it up on Etymoline, online, Etymological Dictionary. I want everyone to be what? Immersed. To be what? Immersed. In this inundation of love of Godhead. That was Lord Chaitanya's plan. And what does immersed mean? What? Is that a question or answer? I'm asking from the dictionary.
Involve oneself deeply in a particular
Involve oneself deeply in a particular activity. Inundated could mean you're getting drowned. So there's this sense of a massive movement of spreading Krishna consciousness, love of Godhead all over the world. That's what Lord Chaitanya's plan was. Is that clear? What was Lord Chaitanya's plan? No, don't look. Tell me. He wanted everyone.
In the inundation of love of God.
Yeah. He wanted everyone to be immersed, and he wanted the world to be inundated with love of Godhead. It's easy to remember. He wanted to cover the whole world. It's a massive movement. So here's Prabhupada's plan. Let's see if we can find a parallel between the Lord's plan and Prabhupada's plan. By printing books, we can actually inject our movement into the masses of people all over the world by printing books. Okay, everyone stand up just for a minute and stretch for the ceiling. And when you stretch up high, say, Go Ranga. Prabhupada said, I like this idea of distributing books and preaching, that it is Lord Chaitanya's plan. And so we are the sampradaya of the book. When I wrote my first book called Our Family Business, I asked His Grace Rabindra Swarup Prabhu, the great Vaishnavan scholar, to write the preface for it. And he read the whole book. He also then told me about his research, and it's great preface, to the book. He said, you see this picture? Yes. Say yes. Yes. Is there anything odd about it? Anachronistic? Lord Brahma is holding a book. Why is that odd? Beginning of creation. But it's a representative of what we do. We give knowledge. And so Rabindra Swarup Prabhu found this quotation presenting that we are the sampradaya of the book. Would you like more evidence? Say yes. 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 Who's that? Yes. What's he sitting there writing? A book. Who's this? What's he holding in his hand? A book. Who's that? What's he kneeling before? A book. Who's this? What's he sitting there writing? A book. Who are they? What are they famous for? Writing books. Who's this? What's he posing with? Books. His books. Who's that? What's in the background behind Srila Bhakti? Who's this? Oh, wait a minute. What's there next to him? Books. Sampradaya, the book. And books change the world. If you do some research, which I have, and look and see, where do ideologies come from? Where did the idea of America come from? It's an idea. It's supported by one piece of paper that you can go visit. It's in the Library of Congress downtown. It's a half-hour drive. An hour to find parking, but a half-hour drive down there. When you get there, there's a document. It's on the wall. They just use a little paste and they put it on the wall. It's right there. And the whole idea of America comes from that one piece of paper. Somebody wrote it down and signed it and said, okay, this is what we're going to do for the next 200 and how many ever years we are now. And how did America get started in the first place? It's the same answer as you were given before. Books. It was a book. Historians say that what sparked the revolution in the colonies, we were colonized by the British Crown. And everyone was subject to the Crown. And they didn't like it. But what got them going, what got them galvanized to break away from the Crown and take a lot of trouble to have a war and everything like that? A book. It's called Common Sense by Thomas Paine. You can read it. It's a really good book. And to date, it's the best-selling book per capita of any book in history. Everybody in the colonies bought a copy of this book. And they read it, and that's what historians say started the whole idea, like, let's break away. And how about selective evolution? Has anybody heard of it before? Any book, self-help book you read, by the time you get to the third page of the second chapter, the author is going to say, when we were cave people on the savannah, we were foraging. And they'll go into this whole diatribe. Where did the idea come from that we evolved from lower species? Same answer. Do you have this book? No. But you've heard the idea, right? Yes. Books change the world. Ideologies get implanted in society because of books. So originally books were handwritten, and then the original people who came up with the printing press were Christians. They wanted to spread the word of the Bible all over the world. So the first printing press was called the Gutenberg Bible, named after Gutenberg, who created the first printing press. And this is the first printing press that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur imported from America. It's come from Cleveland, Ohio. He had it shipped to Calcutta so he could print books. Books are containers. What are books? Containers. And what do they have inside? Ideas. And what about living entities? What are they called? What kind of energy are they? Marginal means open to suggestion. That's why people advertise. Because you say, drink Coca-Cola, because it's opening a bottle of happiness. That's one of their campaigns. Open a bottle of happiness. Is it opening a bottle of happiness when you open a bottle of Coca-Cola? No. Say no, Vaiśeṣika Dāsa. Bad Vaiśeṣika. It's sugar water. And it tastes quite odd, frankly. And then they say, open a bottle of happiness, and they put a picture of a smiling person or a successful person. They don't show them one with the teeth all rotted out. It's a nice smile. In India, I see them all over the place. There's some attractive person guzzling Coca-Cola. So everyone buys Coca-Cola because they think, yeah. So living entities are open to suggestion, and our propagation of Krishna consciousness is, our success in it is not a mystery, it's a recipe. So we can follow the recipe and be successful. Here are the 4 laws of book distribution. Are you ready?
Yes.
First one is your sadhana must be strong. What's the first law of book distribution?
Your sadhana must be strong.
Yeah, it should be strict, serious, and sincere. We get a taste. When we have a taste, even if it's a tiny, tiny little taste, then we have something to distribute to other people. A close godbrother friend of mine once said, if you want to be successful in management, preaching, anything, you have to be blissful. That's the first law. And you can only be blissful if you have strong sadhana. Otherwise you get dragged into the 24-hour news cycle and you'll go insane. We have to become absorbed. When you do strict, serious, sincere sadhana, and you're able to enter into the book without being distracted to go somewhere else, and you can stay there and you can read for an hour and then feel, I'm released from the material whirlpool for a while. I can chant and I get to 16 and I think, I didn't really want to stop, but I have to move on. You were absorbed. From there, you can feel blissful, and then you can go out and in also to your family and not be grouchy because you're happy. And it doesn't matter how somebody else chews or if they're late by 2 minutes, you're happy. And when you go out to meet other people, it doesn't matter what they say to you because, hey, what do you care? Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayat Yashavairagyam Jnanam Charya. You have these assets that you feel happy, detached. You got knowledge. You know what's what. This is indispensable. You have to do strong sadhana. And then you're able to distribute the overflow. How much overflow can you get from one molecule of realization or taste in chanting japa and reading and doing your sadhana? How much can you distribute? Enough to flood the world. One molecule can flood the whole world. So try to get one molecule of taste from your chanting. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Ek bar nam shatam matore. Just try one time to get ek bar, one time, ek bar, one time get a little, what was that? You're ready to go. Hey, everything's going to be okay because we're not our bodies and we're devotees of Krishna. The day starts before, the night before. Go to bed early, everybody. Get up for japa. Make japa great again. Win with the basics. Chapter a day. Read a chapter of Bhagavad Gita every day. Small victories add up. Chiri motsambareva yamatanaru. Where's Rashmin? What does it mean? Chiri motsambareva yamatanaru. Chiri motsambareva yamatanaru. She speaks Japanese. Imiwa? It means little grains of dust add up to a mountain. In our practice, try to get a grain of dust, add it, turn it into Mount Fuji, Fuji-san. Please encourage the others to read Bhagavad Gita at least one chapter a day, Prabhupada said. Why not follow that? Really, why not follow it? Anybody have a good reason why not? Say, I don't have time. Go ahead, I dare you. Go ahead, somebody say it. I don't have time? It's not time, it's taste. Everything's taste. If you have a taste for something, you're just going to do it. That's what living entities do. That's how they roll. If you like something, no matter who says what to whom, you're going to go ahead and do it. Even if you're in prison and they say, you stay locked up in that little cage, sir. And you say, okay, but I'm going to read one chapter of Bhagavad Gita a day. So as long as you come out and break rocks the rest of the day, that's fine. So Bhagavad Gita as is should be read by all of my students at least one chapter a day. readchad.com. It's an organization dedicated to reading one chapter a day. There's an app, Be a Sage, page by page. You can go on there and discern how many pages a day you're going to read. And the second law of book distribution is you get the books. They're available. When else in history have you been able to make one phone call or even make a text and then 3 days later you have a case of books on your porch? Tell me that. Previously you have to write them, Rishi. They used to have to write them by hand. How long would it take you to copy the whole Bhagavad Gita by hand?
Very long time.
Long time. Nowadays, high-speed printing, thanks to Gutenberg, thanks to the Royal Bible Society, thanks to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, thanks for modern technologists for making printing available in the world, because now we can have Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. If you make a phone call, you can have a pallet of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatams delivered to your house next week. Anybody want to try it? Why not do it? Just get them. If you get a whole pallet of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatams at your house, what would you do with them? Where would you put them? You put them in your house, right? Where? Anywhere they'd fit. Just put them in there, see what happens. You want to try a social experiment? Why don't you put this on the internet, do a live stream? We have a small apartment and we ordered a pallet of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatams that we couldn't even afford, but we did it anyway. How about you try this in the next week? And then you do one of those, what's it called? A reality show? You show the reaction of the kids coming home. What's all these boxes? Invite your friends over. There's no place to sit. There's only boxes inside the house. How would your life change?
You'd be distributing bhakti.
You'd be distributing bhakti. How else would your life change? What would happen? Would it be bad or good?
Good.
You sense good?
Yeah.
Would it be fun? Would it be outrageous? Would you be living on the edge?
Yeah.
Would everyone start coming over to your house?
No.
Yeah, they come over to your house, you have a seat, you can sit on the boxes because we have no more furniture. That's how to live. If you really want to live, order a whole pallet, put them in front of the refrigerator. Kids come home, give me a snack. Say, sure. Just distribute one set of Bhagavatams and we'll be able to open the refrigerator for you. Get innovative. Do something outrageous. Getting on the Jaladuta was outrageous, wasn't it?
Yes.
Everyone was going, what are you doing? It's like, order my spiritual master. I'm going to do the impossible. It's like, what? That's why we join a movement. We don't join for some humdrum. We join because we want some revolution in our life. We want to turn things on their head. We want to have some experience, take it to the moon. You got just a few minutes in this lifetime. Do something unusual. And here it's all lined up. Get the books. And then make an arrangement. Who knows what arrangement? As soon as you put them in your house, you're going to be on CNN. There'll be helicopters flying around. Say, there's the house down there. There's no room in the house. It's only Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. People will be calling you on the phone. How do I get one of those sets of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? They're texting in. Next thing you know, your whole house turns into a distribution center and people want to come and stay with you and they camp outside on your lawn because you've got a movement going on. That's how the Hare Krishna movement started. It's not some bureaucracy. It's pray hard, chant hard, read Bhagavad Gita, and with your heart and soul take risks to go out and spread Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, life's a huge bore. Just playing prevent defense all day long. I don't want to get wet. I don't want to take a risk. That's boring. We're in it for the excitement. We want a movement and we want to be part of it. So get books. And you can't distribute books you don't have. We did double-blind studies in Ivy League universities and they came up with this conclusion. So get books. Look at that. A beautiful sight, books being loaded in. When you see pallets of books coming into your house, to your Hare Krishna center, that's health. That's a sign of health. When there's no place to put them anymore, and you've got to invent more space to put the books, now you know you've got a successful corporation because the main product is increasing. Get them in all languages. Don't cheat people. Just bring in one language. If you have them in many languages, every town and village means every language. Use language cards. Language cards I'll talk about later, but It's the way to distribute books to people who speak a different language than you, and you don't have to say a word, and you'll be 100% successful, I guarantee it, or I'll pay for every book that you can't distribute using my method. Third law is? Okay, you got to work with me on this. What's the third law? Think about that. All you have to do is show it, because living entities are traveling throughout the whole world, and they're just looking for something nice, and they're not finding it. They're not satisfied by looking at box stores. Costco, boring. Downtown, square buildings, little glass on the outside, boring. Kills the soul. They want beauty. And if you show them the beauty of Krishna book, if you show them the beauty of the Bhagavad Gita, that's what the soul wants. All you have to do is show it. You don't have to say anything. Do what the Russians do in Vrindavan. They just stand out there and they go like this. I said, I've never seen such a technique like that. You just stand there. And do they sell books? Of course they do, because they're just showing it. Is it the best technique? I don't know. But it works because they're showing books. If that's all you do, if you go down to the corner, what's the corner down that big intersection where everybody turns to get onto the road? Just go down there, somebody experiment one day, take 4 hours, take 1 hour, and just stand there with the Bhagavad Gita and hold it like that. I guarantee you somebody's going to pull over and buy a Bhagavad Gita from you. Because what did you do? The more you show, the more you sell. It's a simple principle. Living entities, they grab onto things when they see them, and you have to show them Krishna consciousness. There's different ways to show. There's tables. This is interesting. And there are myriad ways of making visible. Everyone stand up. Reach towards the ceiling and say, Go Ranga. Reach up and say, Go Ranga, really slow. Go one time, super slow. Go I feel better. Devotees on the street in the cold. Cold weather is the best time to distribute books. Freezing cold, so your hands are, you're wondering if you're going to have fingers when you come back. It's so nice. You're out there in the freezing elements. Or if it's raining outside, we found a spike in distribution on those days when it's pouring rain, because everyone, for some reason, they start showing pity. You know when the biggest spike in book distribution we've had in recent history? 2020, starting in April. When was that? Huh? Pandemic, worldwide, everyone shut down. Can show you the statistics, but it looks like this. Boom! We went through the roof. So go out into the elements. Get some warm boots and some mittens. And go out in the rain, get a nice umbrella. Stay out there and feel what it's like to do something what Krishna and Sudama did. They went out looking for wood for their guru during a rainstorm, and they got trapped out there. That was their most cherished memory together when they met again in Dwarka. Remember that? As they were doing some sacrifice for their guru, and then they got trapped in a rainstorm. Their guru came looking for them. So they were carrying wood. When we carry books, we're also carrying wood. That's the Samitpani, Shotri and Brahmani. Samitpani means carry wood for your guru. So if you carry the books, you're carrying books for the founder Acharya. They're carrying them around. They come from trees. Oh, knocking on doors. When you knock on a door, then your heart goes, dun, 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 dun. That's where you want to be. Don't be on your couch going, meh, 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 meh. Be like this. Bim, 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 bim. And then you know, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare. That's where you want to live. So why do you go door to door? So you can be in that zone. You knock on the door, it's like, Krishna, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? Well, who's going to come to the door? Will they shoot me? Will they be nice? What will happen? We don't know. But it's the most exciting thing you can do. And if you want to have an exciting life, go door to door. Knock on every door. Figure out how many doors there are in Maryland. And then make a chart. Make an app. Make an app, engineers. Make an app for every door in Maryland and say, how many doors do we have to knock between now and, I don't know, how many years do we want to have to knock every door in Maryland?
5 years.
5 years. How many doors, make an estimate, do you have to knock over 5 years per weekend in order to knock on every door in Maryland?
Weekend?
Yeah. Come on. Isn't there some statistics people in here?
5,000.
5,000 a weekend? Mathematicians who paid $120,000 for an education, give me an answer. How many approximately? Loka? What does Brown University say? He's checking how many doors there are. That's what you do. You figure out how many doors are there in Maryland and say, how many years will it take us to knock on every door? And then you start a campaign and you say, hey, everybody in the community, you want to see if we can knock on every door in Maryland? And then everyone will be going every weekend, boom, 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 boom. And you come back and the kirtan, everyone will be jumping towards the ceiling because they're so excited, because they're going door to door. And their hearts are jumping because they're just taking shelter of Krishna. We'll get the answer in just a minute. Yes?
9,735.
9,735 doors to knock every weekend.
Every weekend.
And how many people are in the congregation? Somebody? Break it down. How many doors do we each have to knock in the whole congregation in order to do 9,735 in one weekend? What?
Probably 300 maybe there.
300 each. Could you do that in one day? Knock 300 doors? Say yes. Yes. Now you got a movement. Now you got some excitement. This is the Sankirtan movement. We got a whole palette out there. It's the whole world. Every door in Maryland. Start the Every Door in Maryland brand. And then you're the yatra that goes to every single door. It doesn't matter what kind of door it is. You go there and you knock it and you present Krishna consciousness. Do you think anything good would come from that?
Yes.
You better say yes.
Yes.
That's where it all happens.
If there's 300 devotees knocking on doors, each devotee only has to knock on 32 doors.
32 doors. Let's go right now. Seriously. 32 doors. What if you said, this weekend, everybody in the congregation, all 300, we're each going to knock on 32 doors. How would the congregation feel? Huh? What's the word?
Nice.
Nice. Come on. Where's some poets in here? Give me some words. Bhagavata Shraya, give us something.
Inspired.
Huh? Fine.
Ecstatic. Inspired.
Inspired. Euphoric.
Getting it.
Huh?
Warming up.
We'd feel connected to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We'd feel connected. Who went out door to door? Tell me what exalted personality went out. Nityananda, he's Balaram. He went door to door. How about, who else? Haridas Thakur went door to door. Who else? Bhaktivinoda Thakur went door to door. Advaitacharya went door to door. What was Lord Nityananda's method? Knock on the door, roll on the ground, refuse to get up unless they chant, Gauranga. Yeah, try it. We've done it before. You knock on the door, there was a couple in there. They said, oh, you know, we're Muslim, we're not interested. And we got on our knees. There were two of us. We got on our knees, and we wouldn't let them close the door because we were like this, please take it. And it was back and forth for half an hour. And the lady of the house finally convinced her husband to come away from the television because he was just ignoring us. And he came over and he said, okay. And he became happy. So try for it. fight for it. Go out and do something outrageous for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but be really nice and leave everyone with a good impression. Look at these places you can meet people. Festivals. Number 4, law of book distribution. You must organize. Say it.
You must organize.
Yeah, you must organize. So, as you move forward, you can find ways to make it a little bit better. Make a list of all the improvements. Don't complain about them. Just write them down. And then fix them a little bit at a time. Prabhupada made the 7 purposes of ISKCON to distribute books. He said, by that we'll achieve the aforementioned. Well, how much more time do we have?
1 o'clock.
Okay. I've given you a little bit of legacy. I've told you how I feel about book distribution to some degree. And now I'm going to tell you some specifics about how to distribute books in to certain kinds of people. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay. So first, just look at me. I'm going to talk about, well, maybe I'll go to the slideshow. Now, this is speed learning, so just watch carefully. Are you getting all this? Don't worry, it's going in your subconscious. You'll have a samskar. All this is to be consumed later. It's coming out in the next book. I get 1 slide to move for every 7 clicks. Isn't that interesting? Or maybe it's storing them all up and then it'll go really fast. Is that right?
There's a delay.
Oh no. Okay, look here. And when we get there, we'll do it. I don't want to take too much time to find it because I can explain it to you very easily. First of all, there's a conundrum, and I want to tell you what it is. It's when you go out and you meet Indians to distribute books, especially Bhagavad Gita. If you present a Bhagavad Gita to an Indian, they will say, I have this, I know this, my mother read Bhagavad Gita, my grandmother memorized Bhagavad Gita. That's what they're going to say. So here's my technique, and whatever technique I'm teaching is not absolute, it's just my technique. And it works for me, you can try it if you want, but I guarantee it. And if you try my techniques and they don't work, for every book you don't sell using my exact technique, send me the bill, I'll pay for it. For every book. Okay? Yes? All right. So, Indians, don't hand them anything.
No.
Are you ready? Say it again. Don't hand them anything, not even prasadam. Don't give them anything. When you meet them, as soon as you hand them a card, if you hand them a Bhagavad Gita, it's finished. They're immediately offended, and here's why. They feel guilty. They're working hard. They have to go to work. They wish they would read Bhagavad Gita, but they haven't opened it in ever. And they have a sense that they should. And it's like if you approach a Christian and you say, here's a Bible. What do they say to you? What do you think this is? I've met a Muslim person before. I was going door to door and a young man gave me 4 cans of soda, a Koran, and a book about the Koran as a donation. So I accepted it. And then about half an hour later, I met a person walked across the parking lot, and he said, I showed him the Gita. He said, I'm a Muslim. I said, okay, here's the Koran. He said, I said I'm a Muslim. So then I showed him the book about the Koran, and he gave a donation. So there's a way in which when you don't hand them anything, then they have nothing to reject. So what I do is I talk to them and I say, as you know better than me. Now say that mantra.
As you know better than me.
Or should it be, as you know better than I? I'm sorry. As you know better than I.
As you know better than I.
That's your preface to whatever you tell them. As you know better than I. Say that. Then you can tell them stuff and say, the Bhagavad Gita is a famous book, and I know that you know the Bhagavad Gita. Your mother reads Bhagavad Gita. Your grandmother memorized Bhagavad Gita. You just said all the things they were about to say to you. And don't hand it to them. And then you say, as you know better than I, there are many problems in the world and they can be solved only from a spiritual position. And as you know better than I, the great asset of India, the great jewel of India is the Bhagavad Gita. We are translated it into Mandarin, into German, into French, into Spanish, into Swahili, into Zulu, and we're distributing it all over the world for world peace. And today we're doing a fundraiser. And we are collecting money. What are we doing? We're doing a fundraiser. And we are collecting money. They immediately then say, how much can I give? They'll say, I don't have cash. We say, we don't take cash. We take MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Carte Blanche, Diners Club, Cash App, Venmo, all of them. And they will very happily donate. After they donate, then you give them everything. You give them prasadam, you give them the Bhagavad Gita, you give them a stack of books, whatever. Then they're happy to take it. But if you do it front-end loading, they feel immediately as if you're insulting their intelligence and you're making them feel guilty. That's why they reject it. And my method works, and if you try it, you'll see that it'll work for you too. Just make sure you follow it completely. Any questions on that first part? Questions? Yes?
Many times they will say, oh, we go to the temple, we'll give a donation at the temple.
When they say, I go to the temple, I give a donation at the temple, say, that's why we picked you out. You look like a person who goes to the temple and gives a donation at the temple. When anybody gives an objection, we always honor the objection. For instance, that they say, I already give. And you say, that's why we picked you out. You look like somebody who always gives. In fact, we were talking about you before you approached. He was saying, you point to your friend, he was saying he looks like somebody who always gives. And they say, I give at the temple. And he's like, we could tell. You know, when we first saw you, you look like the kind of person who always gives at the temple. That's why we even decided to talk to you. And today, the temple came to you. And so it's practically a miracle. We didn't know you lived here. You didn't know we were coming. It must be Krishna's arrangement. That's what we normally say when I give at the temple. But we don't push them too hard. We don't want to push anybody too hard. It goes back to the ripe fruit. There's a joyful, blissful way to present to people, to honor in a slightly humorous way that we already knew that. We appreciate your objection so much, and we honor you in whatever you're objecting to, and we're still offering it to you. If you sense any slight friction, back off. I always back off and just let them go. Let them loose. The ripe fruits are out there. The more you're selective and the less you try to convince or push people into a corner they don't want to go in, the more blissful you'll be. Just live a happy life. Go out and find the ripe fruits and don't worry about being a master at cornering people, tricking them, making them give more, whatever. Just be happy and find the nice people. There's a few little humorous things you can do to help them along over that edge where they're just lazy to reach for their pocket. And you can just inspire them and they won't mind. They'll be happy afterwards. But leave everyone with a good impression. What should you do? Yes. And now as far as presenting the Bhagavad Gita as it is. The Bhagavad Gita as it is, may I have a hardback copy, please? Is a world-renowned and revered book. Many people already know Bhagavad Gita. Many people are looking for Bhagavad Gita. People will benefit by reading the Bhagavad Gita. And when I present the Bhagavad Gita, the first step is to make conscious contact with whomever I'm going to present it to. The way I do that is I make eye contact. Can I make eye contact with everybody? No, because some people don't want to make eye contact. If somebody doesn't want to make eye contact with me, should I chase them? No. If somebody makes eye contact with me and I say hi, and they go like this, should I chase them? No. If I make eye contact and I say hi to people and they go, should I chase them? No. If I make eye contact and I say hi and they go, no. Should I chase them? No. If I make eye contact and I say hi and they go like this, Should I approach them?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a scale from 1 to 10. And when you get to 5, 5 is like this. Smile, no teeth. That means, not really. 5.1, little teeth come through. Now you're at 5.1. There's a possibility that you can approach them. 5.2, you get up to 7, they'll come running at you and say, like, give me that book. I've been looking for the Bhagavad Gita. 10, they'll just say, where's your ashram? I'm joining. So there's honestly a scale. That's why Ishvare Taradineshu Balisheshu Dusatsu Chag. The Bhagavatam says, be very selective. When you find people that are 5.1 and above, feel free. And if you want to change the setting a little bit so you have an easier time, just move it up to 5.3. You say, I'm only talking to people that really appreciate the fact that I just said hi to them. And then you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to convince anybody. 5.3s, they're going to be easy fruits that come off in your hand. So the first thing is to make conscious contact with people, with your eyes. And then you look and see, what is their response to you? And you judge it on a scale of 1 to 10. And you get good at this. You can even practice without distributing books, just saying hi to people and see where are they on the scale. And when you get good at seeing where's 5.1, where's 5.3, where's a 6, where's a 7, then you start to understand, now my opening is there. And according to how much you want to exert yourself, you can do it according to how they respond to you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes or yes? Yes. Okay, so the next thing is ask a qualifying question. Do what?
Ask a qualifying question.
If you walk up to people and say, here, they have no idea what you're handing them. They have no idea why you're handing them, and they assume the worst, that you're going to ask them for money or you're going to try to convert them right on the spot. You're going to give him a Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class and you're going to be there for an hour and he's going to miss his flight. So you make sure you qualify people, and here's an easy way to qualify people. I'm from California. Where are you from?
Baltimore.
Baltimore! I love Baltimore because of the Orioles. Here, this is from San Francisco to Baltimore. I qualified him because where he lives, and the Bhagavatam says this is a bona fide way to do it because yasyatma buddhi kunapay through dhatu ke. That there's a way in which everyone identifies with their body, and Bhoma Ejadi means they worship their homeland. So if you ask anybody where they're from, where are you from? Yeah.
Russia.
What part of Russia?
Far East.
Far East Russia. I studied Far East Russia. That's a cool place. Am I now your instant friend? Yeah, because I appreciate your hometown. Where are you from? I'm from California. Where are you from?
I'm from Ashburn, Virginia.
Ashburn, Virginia. I love Ashburn, Virginia. I know a bunch of people from Ashburn, Virginia. Are we kind of connected now? Yeah, because I liked your hometown. I'm from California. Where are you from? Ashburn. No. Say another place.
I'm from Macklin, Virginia.
Macklin, Virginia. Right. Virginia is for lovers. Yeah, I love that place. Whatever it is, relate to their Bhoma Ejadi and qualify them. You tell where you're from, you ask where they're from, as soon as they tell you, I'm from New York. New York? New York's famous. I love New York. Where else you from? Huh? Where? Oh, sorry. Columbus. Fantastic. Named after an explorer. Or whatever it may be, you have some repertoire so you get some sense of connection with people. So this is what we call qualifying. So first is make conscious connection, we call it. Second is qualifying question. And not say, are you from here? Then they say, no. And then they'll just keep walking. Say, I'm from California. Where are you from? Say that. Where are you from? So then when they say they're from someplace, you appreciate the place they're from, then you say, oh, great, as if that's what opened the door for this transaction. This is from California to Baltimore. Now, as I'm handing the book over, I tell them a little bit about the book. Books on yoga and meditation. Books on yoga and meditation. Shows you how to get free from stress. 2 sentences. Books on yoga and meditation. Shows you how to get free from stress. So they have a little idea of what it's about by the time it hits their hand. And then I ask them another question, because questions are a hook. They hold everything in place and they move the conversation forward. So I say, you've heard of stress, right?
Yes.
And if they say, what if you say no?
No.
It's okay. The next thing I say, really? Because you don't look very stressed. And if they say, no, I haven't heard of stress, and I say, I can tell, you don't look very stressed. Then I say, don't mind me saying this, but you look spiritual. Turn to the person next to me and say, don't mind me saying this, but you look spiritual. Don't mind me saying this, but you look spiritual. Now say it back to the other person. Pick a person. She didn't get somebody. Say. Now say it back to her. And how did you feel when they said that? Spiritual. If somebody comes up to you in the morning and they say, you look tired, how do you feel the rest of the day? Somebody comes up to you and says, you look terrible, how do you feel? You're looking in the mirror going, God, I do. Maybe I need a little work done or something. So there's a way in which when you say they look spiritual, they instantly become self-realized. Because they're spirit soul, caught in a material body, been in the material world for millions of lifetimes, and suddenly someone walks up, first person ever, in 1 billion lifetimes, and says, you look spiritual. And then they go, hey, wait a minute, I am spiritual, I'm not this body. I'm part of the spiritual world, I'm connected to the super soul. It's an amazing question or it's an amazing thing to tell people. And you put a little preface, don't mind me saying this, but you look spiritual. And then comes the next question, get ready for it. What's your secret?
What's your secret?
Say to the person next to you, what's your secret?
What's your secret?
Now what this does, this changes everything, because when you're presenting to people anywhere for the first time, there's a subtle feeling that they have, and that is that this person is condescending to me. Otherwise, why would they be stopping me with a book? What they want to do is tell me the following: you're messed up, I'm going to fix you. They don't like that. Nobody likes it. If somebody comes up to you and say, you know, Prabhu, you're really blowing it. I'm going to show you how to really get it together. And it's like, you'll bristle. No, you won't. Other ordinary people would. So there's a way that after you say you look spiritual, you say, what's their secret? Let them give an answer. And the answer they give is something about their lifestyle. Like if they're in the mode of ignorance, they'll say, I smoke pot. If they're in the mode of passion, they'll say, I'm so organized, I go to every self-help seminar there is. If they're in the mode of goodness, they'll say, I do meditation, I go to the forest. And they'll give some kind of answer, and then your reaction is, I knew it, I could tell you were spiritual. That's why. And that's when you take the book back and say, here, I'll show you really quick. How fast are you going to show them? Because they want to get out of there, mind's going on, the light's going to change, I got to get an ice cream, you know, the whole thing's going on in their minds. So really quick, show them the back cover, and you say, Thoreau, Emerson, Gandhi. Those are on the back cover. Then you can put in Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Albert Einstein, the Beatles, Tupac Shakur. And then open it up to the Sanskrit and say, this has been translated over 500 times, and show him a Sanskrit and say, can you read this?
Yes.
He can read it. Just pretend you're somebody on the street.
No.
Okay, no, he can't read it. I was just testing you, I'm only kidding. It's translated in English. And out of all the translations, now I'm turning to the front page. This has become the most popular academically, and I show them 2 universities. Have you heard of University of Southern California? Say yes. Yes. Have you heard of Georgetown University? Yes. You better say yes. And then that's all you have to do. Just say you've seen these, you point to them, then turn to the first picture, not the first picture in the set. The first picture to show is changing bodies. You see this? And say, here, look, life's a quick journey. We start here, we end up here, we're just passing through. Where are you in all this? He said right here, and then you turn to the next page and say, this shows a self-realized person. A self-realized person treats everyone with respect. Say that. Because he or she sees
He or she sees
there's a spirit within everyone.
spirit within everyone.
And then you ask another question. You've heard of karma, right? What does it mean to you? And now I'm asking you, what is it? So I say, you've heard of karma? And they go, yeah. And they say, what does it mean to you?
When we do good, good comes back.
Whoa! He said, when you do good, good comes back. Then you go like this. Whoa! Do that. Whoa! I really like the way you put things. If more people in the world thought like you, it would be a better place to live. What does karma mean to you?
Every action has a reaction.
Whoa! I really like the way you put things.
I really like the way you put things.
If more people in the world
More people in the world
thought like you,
thought like
it would be a better place to live.
better place to live.
Okay. So next thing is, you ask them, what do they do professionally? What do you do professionally?
I'm an architect.
What kind of architect?
IT architect.
IT architect. Look at this guy used to be an IT architect. Are there any Sunday school teachers in here? Yes, okay. What do you do professionally?
I'm a researcher.
No, you're a Sunday school teacher. What do you do professionally?
I'm a Sunday school teacher.
Really, this guy used to be a Sunday school teacher. So as soon as you tell them that, half the people laugh. The other half people go, really? Because they don't want to be disrespectful. And for them, they say, no, not really, I'm just kidding. Then they laugh. And as soon as they're laughing, you go, here, we don't sell it like in a store. We just take a donation. They cost around 10 to print. We don't need the money. Anything you give over that is a donation. It's an ancient tradition. When you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it connects you to that knowledge and the teachers who have passed it down. It allows you to go deeply within it. One of the ways that I talk about the donation, which is kind of where the rubber meets the road, is I say, we don't need the money. And you're not, if you want to try this technique, it's very successful for me, but I say, it's not even required. But when you give something in return for spiritual knowledge, it connects you. You totally let them off the hook and just say, we don't need the money, it's not even required, but when you give something in return, there's a little synapse there when you say it's not required, where they have free will to then say, I'll give. And if you want to try that and play around with it and see what happens when you present like that, you'll notice that when people are free to make their own choice, you're not wedging them into it. Oftentimes, they give more joyfully, and they give freely, and they also give more for the book. And the other part of it is, it always comes out in the wash, because there's a way in which some people give more, some people give less, but I'm looking for an average mean, and I don't mind as long as it comes out at the end. The main principle is to leave everyone with a good impression and make them feel good about the transaction. Now, when they've given a donation, I ask them if they believe in the power of prayer. Do you guys believe in the power of prayer?
Yes.
What if you say no? Do you believe in the power of prayer?
No.
Perfect. I'll give you a mantra. So you always have something ready with a yes or no question to say, oh good, I'm going to do the opposite. So I'll give you a mantra, or if they say, yes, I believe in the power of prayer, then you show them a mantra card. And you say, I'm going to teach you this beautiful prayer or mantra that is meant to wake up love for God within your heart. All say it, then you can repeat, are you ready?
Are you ready?
Yeah. So, are you ready? Because then they don't have really time to think a lot about it. But then you say, please repeat, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then give them prasadam. Always have prasadam with you. And get their contact information. So if they want to follow up, they can join your next program where you've created an environment that's perfect for new people. So they feel welcome. There's somebody that holds their hand to get into it and gets introduced to the program. And when you have a program that's perfectly suited for the next step, then you'll find that on every Sankirtan outing or weekend, you're going to find 5, 7 new people that are seekers that want to join your tailor-made program so that they can hear more about the basics of Krishna consciousness get started. Everyone please stand up. Please reach to the sky and say, Gauranga. Now do it slower. 1, 2, 3. Gauranga. Now the slowest you've ever done it in your life. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Questions? Yes. Go ahead and ask. I'll repeat.
So, thank you so much for a wonderful session. My question is, sometimes we find curious people who
Sometimes you find curious people.
hear everything about your presentation,
but at
the end they say, I don't have any money.
At the end they say, I don't have any money.
I don't have any money.
I don't have any money.
Any cash, or
I don't have any cash.
And usually they don't want to use credit card.
And they don't want to use credit card. What's the question?
So what do we do in that situation? If they're genuinely interested,
They're genuinely interested. How do you know they're genuinely
because
interested?
they heard you for 10 minutes.
Well, if somebody's genuinely interested and it's a case-by-case basis, me deciding, then I'm out there to find good homes for the books. And if somebody's genuinely interested, it's rarely true that people don't have money. It's maybe 1 out of 100. Most people say I don't have any money, and they mean two things. They mean I don't know how much to give, and therefore I don't want to reveal that I have money because I'm afraid I'll give too little or you'll charge me too much. And they get in this space where they're not sure what to do. And one of the filters, as soon as people say I don't have any money, I would say, oh, we don't take cash. I just categorically say we don't take cash, because mostly when they say they don't have money, they mean I don't have any cash on me. So they say, oh, perfect, we don't take cash. We take Cash App, Venmo, Apple Pay, say a few things and be ready to accept it like that. That's how most people pay nowadays. They say I don't have any of those things. Say, do you have anything you'd like to donate? Do you have a pen or a lighter or something like that? Sure, I'll give my lighter. And then you take it home and you wash it off really carefully and you use it to light the lamp for the deities. And every time you flick that thing on, they're going to get a little jolt. Like, what happened? I think I'm a Hare Krishna. Or if they don't have anything, don't make a friction. If you really genuinely assess they want to take it. Oftentimes, the people, maybe they have money, say they don't have money, whatever it is, maybe they don't really want to take the book, they just feel awkward standing there. We try not to make people feel awkward. But you can ask another question. You can say, well, would you rather I give it to somebody else? A lot of times people are really happy to hand it back and they'll say, yeah, give it to somebody else. It's like a relief to them. If you say, would you rather I give it to somebody else, you're giving them a choice. And then they'll say, oh no, I want to keep it. And then, okay, you took every step, you did your due diligence. Find out more information, run them through the filter. Is this helping answer? Okay. A few more questions or reflections? Yes. Yes. 1, 2. Go ahead.
So, they have often said, like when you bring the money aspect out of it, people say, oh, I don't have my spouse, I need to talk to my spouse and to take the decision, what should I respond?
That's generally Indian women who say that. And what I usually say, when anybody makes an objection, I say, perfect. That's exactly what we were hoping for. See, when somebody makes an objection, if you try to block it, then whatever you resist persists. It becomes stronger. So if they say, my husband's not here, my such and such not here, I can't, and they say, perfect, this is the perfect time to do it then. Like people say, my boss isn't here. It's like, perfect, just give what you can then nobody to stop you. So whatever they say, perfect, that's exactly how everybody does it like that. When their husbands are gone, that's when you really give. So it's in general, you honor the objection. Take it and say, like, yeah, everybody does it like that, and we're waiting for that. Does that help? Yeah, just get in the habit of honoring objection. Okay, 1, 2.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful tips. My challenge is, I have a wonderful peer devotee. Basically, he's very enthusiastic, and I'm trying to connect with the person. Like he chants song and say that, like, if I'm giving a Bhagavad Gita, he wants to give Bhagavatam to them. He's very enthusiastic. So it basically kind of blocks that I'm not able to connect with the customer.
You mean when you're out there talking, the person interrupts you? That's illegal. You can't interrupt the other person, ever. And unless they ask you to. In fact, I make this prerequisite when I take devotees out. I say, don't help me. Obviously, I need help, a basket case and a mercy case. But on Sankirtan, I don't want anybody interrupting me. If there's a pause, I'm doing it deliberately. I tell the whole group, I say, don't help anybody unless they ask you. Don't give them a card. Don't give them prasadam. That comes out in the due course of time. Everything comes in due course of time because I have my own rhythm, so don't help me. So if somebody's interrupting you, you have to have a talk with them and say, I really appreciate how enthusiastic you are. If there were more people like you in the world, it would be a better place to live. One thing, it's a small thing, I need to make my own failures so I can fail forward fast. So would you do a service for me and just let me say the whole thing through? At the end, if they don't take a Gita or whatever it is I'm presenting, then we can talk about it and come back to them with the Bhagavatam. But just be very gentle and beg off and ask them. And tell them, I went to a seminar and the person who was presenting said it's illegal to present cross ideas. You just let one person do it the whole time unless they ask. And a lot of times I ask. If I go with a group of people, I'll introduce myself. My name's Vaish, what's your name? And they'll say such and such. And then I'll say, there'll be like 7 people with me. I point to every one of them. They all say their name. So then I want participation. But other than that, no cross-helping. Okay, who is next?
As right now, for the Bhagavatam campaign, many times, when we ask people for donation for sponsoring Bhagavatam sales, they say they have competing priorities. Sorry, it's going on and on.
Yeah.
In the sense that they're already donating to ISKCON. Sometimes devotees in temples say they're already donating, for many causes in the temples. Or, outside people will say that we are, donating for similar causes. So what do we do in those cases? We let those devotees go, whether they be in temple or outside, or is there a way to pursue it there?
Donation campaign generally is a cultivation over a period of time. And when people trust you and they also appreciate your cause, then they're ready to donate. When you approach them intermittently or before you have a relationship with them or before you form contacts so they trust you and they believe in your cause, then they'll defer in various ways. And therefore, the campaign for Bhadra starts a year ahead of time, making contact with people, going out of your way to connect with them and be friends and so forth. That's how to build a base. So that every year when you have a Bhadra campaign for you start a little program where you have this fire pit and everyone's putting their hard-earned money into it. What for? For Bhagavatams going here, there, and every place. You have to build context ahead of time. And if it's first time the person has heard about it, you can talk a little bit about the ultimate benefit of Bhagavatam and giving Bhagavatam, but generally that's what happens. There are lots of places you can give donations, so people choose where they feel safest and where they trust the most. Another point is that there's a side of thinking in abundance and there's a side of thinking in scarcity. So you want to create a mood of abundance. And there are empiric studies that show the more fundraising that goes on, the more people realize capacity that they can give. There's a sense every living entity has. If a squirrel has some nuts stashed away for the winter, he thinks, if somebody else takes these, I'm going to die, so I'm going to defend them. And we get a little squirrel account, put in some money, and we're thinking, oh, I need this, and my family's going to need it when I die, and my grandchildren, and there's all this sense. So if you show people that by giving to Krishna, That's how you actually get abundance. And you can develop that context, that mood. The more you give, the more you can give, and the more you can give, and the more you give preemptively, the smarter you are. Those types of things can be very helpful. But fundraising, you'll notice fundraisers get up and they give all kinds of ideas about why it's good to donate, and it generally happens in a particular context. Even people who weren't planning on it when they came there, they see other people give, and they also hear what you say, and they get inspired in the moment, and there's two voices in their heads going, don't do it. The other one's going, no, go ahead, do it, do it, do it. You'll make up for it. Your wife won't mind when you get home. You can explain it to her, or her husband, or whatever. And then, you know, people sometimes raise their hand, and you can see, like, they're going on a limb doing it, but they get inspired. So you try to create an environment where they feel inspired by everybody else is doing it. So it's hard work. You have to plan for it, you have to cultivate people, and then you have to really just tell them everything you believe in the Bhagavatam to explain it to them, and either they'll take or they won't take. But over time, you can develop a momentum where there are certain times when everybody gives the Bhagavatam. Sarvamangala. Hare Krishna.
Is it just the experience what you start with? Because before you were talking about, you know, you're spiritual, aren't you? You had one way of approaching and the other, and then, can you hear?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had one way of approaching before, and then now you just told us another way. So is it just that you become tuned in to which?
What do you mean now I'm saying another way? What's the other way?
And you said, pardon? You said, I can't remember how it started, but you said, are you a spiritual person? Are you spiritual?
Yeah.
And then you kind of went down that road.
That was part of the process. So the first part is making conscious contact. I'm filtering people out, right? Then the next part is I ask them a question, qualify, put the book in their hand. I ask them if they heard of stress. I say, you don't look stressed. Then I say, actually, don't mind me saying this, but you look spiritual. That's when it comes in.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And some of these things you can, if you want to truncate the process, some of the main points are that if you ask questions to people, and then if you say, you look spiritual, what's your secret? If you just walked up to somebody and said, you look spiritual, what's your secret? You could actually be successful in that too. Because people are, oh, I do? What did you see in me? Or it opens. So one of the main, even going back to a more basic point, is to ask questions. Don't tell, but ask. So you say, you look spiritual, what's your secret? It puts them in a different category, like you're learning from them, rather than, I'm here to teach you what you don't know. Now you're going like, you sit on the Vyasasana, I'm going to learn from you, I'm getting down here. Now you tell me what's your secret. They feel much more inclined to then relate to you. That was the point of that question.
May I just ask another
Yeah, of course.
Just remembering when we used to do magazines, and Harinam, next to the Harinam, we were so blissful and we didn't think about anything. So I guess, and then we got into being trained when we had to kind of, I felt uncomfortable. We had, LPs, and we had to say, oh look, that's me at the end. And we were telling you, and trying to do something that didn't feel as good as being very happy ourselves. So I don't know. I mean, what you're saying, it's firing us up because it's very personal.
Yeah, I agree with you, and there's a way in which it's helpful to define the reason you're doing something. And if you define it correctly, or in a way that's most helpful, you'll feel more inspired. And I'll give you an example. If you think, I'm going out to sell a book to everybody, you're putting too much pressure on yourself. First of all, not everyone's going to take. Second of all, if you say, I'm going out to sell books to people who will take them, that's still too much pressure. If you say, I'm going out to feel what it feels like to walk out the door with the rest of the devotees, and just see, what did Prabhupada feel like when he got on the Jaladuta? That's all I want to do. I just want to feel it. That can get you out the door. Don't put undue pressure on yourself that you have to perform. It's not about a score, it's not about performing, you don't have to sell a book, you don't have to do anything. Just walk out the door, be with the Harinam, observe the world, get a little purified by going out there, and see what happens.
Something changed when we weren't doing it because we were in bliss.
Yeah, that's the part I talked about at the beginning, where when you're blissful, you can handle anything. And if you're not blissful, the whole world becomes a big mechanical jam. And it's really hard to unstick all the gears. And you get your finger caught, and you don't know what to do. So, the Harinam, along with book distribution, highly recommended. Keeps you in a bubble. Keeps devotees who want to go out, they can do their part. Let everyone do what they feel comfortable with doing. Not everyone has to do the same thing, but I do recommend everyone try to get to the point of distributing the Bhagavad Gita. One of the really wonderful devotees up in Toronto just wrote me this morning, wrote Nirkula and me, and said that she had distributed her first Bhagavad Gita. And she had gone out with the when we went in Toronto, we talked all these different ways of presenting, she watched, and it was such a triumph for her to go out there and sell a book, and she feels very confident about herself, or she has this experience now that Krishna helped me. And we want that experience for everybody. We want devotees to have the experience of going out into the great unknown and see what it feels like to depend on Krishna, and remember that Prabhupada did this. He went personally to shops, to doors, on street corners, alone. Even as he got elderly, he went alone to Kashmir, and he walked up to Muslim universities and asked them to take a set of Bhagavatams, and they did it. So when he came to America, what was the big leap for him sitting down and chanting Hare Krishna in a park, and then the cops came and said, you can't sit here. And he moved. And so Prabhupada wanted us to have that experience. That's why he said he wanted everyone to learn the art of book distribution. He said in another conversation, he said, I've not said you have to sell a certain number of books. That's all arbitrary. We make that stuff up. It's for our own good. We make it up because we want to have something to shoot for. Because Prabhupada always said, try to make a goal that the devotees will feel inspired to reach up and try to attain. It's fun in the community when you have something that pushes you a little bit by community. But ultimately, it's not the numbers. You can pick any number. That's why I tell people, when you make a pledge to go out and distribute a book, or for Bhadra Purnima to sell sets of Bhagavatam, I say, here's what you do. Make a pledge for something more than 0 and not less than 1. If you write on a piece of paper, I'm going to distribute between now and Bhadra Purnima 1 set of Bhagavatams, you won't sleep tonight. And that's a good thing. Because you're going to start thinking, how am I going to sell my 1 set of Bhagavatams? And your whole life is going to change. And you'll think, well, how will I get a set of Bhagavatams? And once you get the set of Bhagavatams, how am I going to make them visible? Who am I going to tell? And that's when the wheels start churning, and that's what our movement is. And we want everyone to have that experience. And if you get it back in that context, that this is high sadhana, it's part of our practice to go out. I mean, Jehovah's Witnesses are everywhere. That's part of their sadhana. They're out there witnessing on the street. They have a little display, and they're standing there nicely dressed. We should dress nicely too. And, you just meet people. That's nice. Go out, tell people, remind people of God. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta told his Matbasis that every one of you should go out every day and knock at least 3 doors, because of what it will make of you to do it. And he said, even if people close the door in your face, they'll think a spiritual person came to my door and they'll get benefit. And he also said when you go to teach Krishna consciousness and people refuse you, you're getting spiritual blood for your spiritual body. We should welcome it when you go out. I was laughing the other day. We took a whole group out in Denver, and we were going door to door in this area, and one of the devotees is a doctor. And he was out there with us, and I was watching as he knocked on one door, and somebody just looked at him and slammed the door, and I said, "Bet that's the first time you got a door slammed in your face as a doctor." And he was saying, "Yeah, I really appreciated it. It was a great experience. If you haven't had a door slammed in your face, you got to try it. It's really ecstatic. When people look at you and they have no idea who you are, but they have a visceral reaction to you and they just slam the door, you feel like simultaneously you think that's hilarious because they don't even know who I am. Second of all, you realize what I realize what I've been doing to Krishna for millions and millions of lifetimes. He's going, I'm here, and I'm like, no, thanks, I'll watch CNN. And you know, we kind of get this context for, you know, what is the world? What are we doing out here? We have just 3 minutes left for, oh yes, Anupam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I just wanted to offer a humble kind of testimony to this sequence and this process that I found that by myself memorizing it to the point where it's like second nature and then applying it, then you could be really amazed at the effects that it has on your ability to distribute books, and you could very soon find yourself distributing cases of Bhagavad Gita's in a given day. The framework itself is based not just on feeling, but off of realization that Maharaj has had, and after decades of practice. And me, as someone who's typically more of an introvert, I was able to apply these principles and see great results. And another thing is that what I found that's helped a lot in terms of getting over the fear of going out and getting a feel for what it's actually like to go and distribute books is watching videos of other people distributing books. And if you go on YouTube and type in Vaiśeṣika Prabhu distributing books, you'll find there's a large collection of videos of Guru Maharaj actually just going out and speaking to people, and he's got a lapel mic, and it really helps break down the barrier of that kind of great unknown. And there's also an Instagram page called soulspot.streets that will also teach you how to distribute books. There's videos up on live action book distribution and also how to, things like that. So it feels very unknown, but I found that by getting the framework down and then actually applying it, then very quickly you could find yourself a completely different person able to make a huge impact on the world around you.
Going to process and knowing a process is very helpful. One of the reasons we were able to be successful during the pandemic was devotees codified how to distribute books even when you couldn't go out of the house. And you, Anupam Prabhu, were the first that I know of who made a video and said, here's how you do a contactless sale of books. And he made a process video that went viral, and it's one of the reasons that everyone was so successful. Supporting your idea that if you find a template, it will make you more confident. You go out and present the template, and then refine it as you go. But that's one of the ways that you'll really get started and be successful. Okay, we have two more. Bhagavata Shaya Prabhu, and then...
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
I think it's worth mentioning.
It's worth mentioning.
Going out.
Going out.
And following the template.
And following the template.
New at this.
And letting people know I'm doing this. We do have a printout, which we will give to you, that has everything I said, step by step. It's at a glance. And what Nirkula was mentioning is, if you're brand new, one of the ways in which we show devotees to start is when you approach somebody, they're like 5.2, 5.3, and they're open to listening to you. You can hand them the card and say, listen, I'm brand new at this, I want to present this to you, but I'm going to follow this. If you could watch and see if I'm doing it correctly. And they'll coach you along. They'll say, okay, now you say this. And I say, now ask me for a donation. And you don't have to be a pro. You just have to go out and try. And Prabhupada said this to us in 1975 in Vrindavan, when our team went there. And we were charged with training devotees how to distribute books in different ways. And our leader asked Prabhupada, what should we be teaching? And Prabhupada said, teach them to be sincere. And then he went like this. He said, because everyone has their own genius. And then he went with a sweeping motion in his hand, and he said, and if they're sincere and they try, then the master in their heart will show them how to do it. So that goes back to pray hard, and then just go out and try to teach people. Okay, Bhagavata Shri Prabhu.
I just wanted to make a personal thanks to you for this, because it's so respectful, it's so pure, it's so benevolent in its presentation, and I'm celebrating 50 years in the movement this year. My personal experience of book distribution when I first joined was very unpleasant in the way it was presented and how we had to do it, and anyway, that's a long story, but I very quickly was left in India, and we just did life membership, which was a different thing. There were books being distributed, but it was a whole different program. And when I came back to the West, there was virtually no book distribution. It was all paraphernalia, and I personally got involved in management, preaching, and so forth. But what I'm really saying is I feel personally a great healing from hearing the way you're presenting this, because it's so loving the way you do this, and I can also know that it's based upon more than 50 years of your experience doing this as a service, and the way you're able to communicate it in such a way that I think everybody feels, well, yeah, I'd like to do this. I'd like to somehow or another get involved in this. It's a very wonderful thing. I feel very gratified and very healed, actually, to hear this today. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhagavata Shri Prabhu. Okay, just in closing, because we're past our time now by 2 minutes, I'll just teach you 2 last things. One's a mantra and one's a technique, so that you'll be fearless for the rest of your life. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, half of you are ready, the rest aren't interested in my technique. Are you ready? Yes. All right. So here we go. The first is a mantra. I want you to repeat after me. Book distribution, is fun and easy. Book distribution, is fun and easy. Book distribution is fun and easy. What about the book distribution? It's fun and easy. Yeah, tell that to everybody. Okay, the second, I'll show you how to be fearless and to go out into the great unknown without any worries in your heart or mind. Are you ready?
Yes.
There's a little switch in the back of your head. I want you to feel for it. Yeah, try it. There's a little switch there you can flip. And you change from being a worried human being. Human beings do one thing very well. They worry all the time. Anybody here human?
Yes.
Do you worry all the time? Yes. Case in point. Now you're going to change to an AI robot. AI robots really don't care. And they don't worry at all. All they do is process and they do their job, right? Now what we're going to do is switch. There's a little switch in the back of your head, and you can switch it from being human and worried to being an AI robot, and all you do is go out and do your duty. Are you ready to switch it?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, switch. You can thank me later. You're an AI robot. You don't mind anything, whoever you approach, whatever. You're just doing your process duty, and that's what Krishna tells us to do in the Bhagavad Gita. Turn it off. You're not the doer anyway. The result isn't up to you. It's up to Krishna. Go out and be the one who presents on behalf of Krishna without considering loss or gain, victory or defeat. Just be there for Krishna. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Gaura Nitai, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman. If you so desire, Please empower our team here in the greater, what do you call the whole great, in Maryland and Virginia and DC, that we may all work together towards outrageously fun goals. As an example, long prayer, figuring out how many doors there are in Maryland and making a goal to knock on every single one of them, or other fine and perhaps even outrageously fun goals. We can work together for these in harmony for self-purification and to follow in the footsteps of the greatest Vaishnava saint, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who went by himself street to street in the hot summer sun, took train rides with Bhagavatams all the way to Kashmir, and then jumped on a boat alone with a few hundred sets of Bhagavatams to come distribute it here in America. Please empower us to follow in his footsteps so we can feel what it's like to go out into the great unknown and be part of this great movement, following in the footsteps of the great devotees. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please unmute and say Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpataruscha kripasinabheva cha patitanam bhavanibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.